Hey there everyone, Videogame Cabinet here, and tonight we're doing a review on Ghostrunner 2 for the PlayStation 5. I just beat Ghostrunner 2 this afternoon, and I thought it was just as badass as the original Ghostrunner. This sequel expands the horizons of its predecessor with more enemy variety, more expansive environments, and some cool new ways to parkour. The flow of the game in the first half is very similar to the original, but the levels are broken up by breaks that you take at the protagonist's hideout. There's dialogue to listen to, but thankfully you can skip it quickly if you want to get back to the gameplay segments and level progression. I never followed the story very closely in Ghostrunner 1, and the same was true during my playthrough of Ghostrunner 2. The meat and potatoes of these games is the parkour, platforming, and dicing through enemies as quickly and efficiently as possible. Ghostrunner 1 had the best first-person free running around, and Ghostrunner 2 continues that same quality. I got such a high every time I would stick a landing off a complex series of jumps into a wall run through the beautifully designed courses. Halfway through the campaign, the environment changes as you exit the cyberpunk city into an open desert with an awesome new motorcycle. The visits to your hub are also dropped. And for a couple chapters, the game dabbles in a slightly open world format where you choose what objective to tackle next. I got lost a couple times during these few chapters, but thankfully, Ghostrunner 2 goes back to linear nature in the last several chapters. The new motorcycle segments throughout the game were particularly thrilling, including a chase between you and a giant mechanical sandworm. You also get a gliding ability in the late game, which opens up even more freedom with how you control your character. There were also more melee-focused boss battles than there were in the original, and these were quite challenging. Fighting bosses and killing enemies with a perfect parry or even a standard sword slash was always satisfying to pull off. There were many encounters that involved several enemies in one giant room, and these would force you how to plan how to zip around and defeat everyone in the best order. It gets quite challenging, and you need patience, quick reflexes, and mastery of the tight controls to make it through. This game, like the original, is not for everyone. You have to be dedicated and enjoy hard games. Even with the frequent checkpoints, you will constantly get killed until you learn and get better. Ghostrunner 2 reminds me of the old cult classics like Hagane on Super Nintendo or Shinobi on PlayStation 2, and that you're playing as a ninja with tight controls, but it has the first-person viewpoint and wall running of Mirror's Edge. I personally love hardcore action platformers like this, so I'm giving Ghostrunner 2 a 9 out of 10, which is the same score that I gave the original Ghostrunner. Anyway, so yeah, that's my review of Ghostrunner 2. I thought it was great. I love the original, and I thought this one was just as good as the first one. You know, it's just really like the best. If you want first person parkour, platforming, action, you know, with a cyborg ninja and just razor sharp controls, this one and the first one are where it's at. And this one adds a motorcycle, which was really cool. Some of the dilly dabbling they do with some open world elements around the middle of the game, you know, I like it more when it's linear, but it's not so much that it takes away from the overall quality. They just experiment with it a little bit, and then they go back to being linear the rest of the game. And throughout the whole thing, it's still all about the platforming and the parkour and the killing enemies in the right order. And I thought it was really fun. You know, I can see how someone who doesn't like hard games might get frustrated with it, might, you know, think it's a bit tedious or whatever, but if you're dedicated to it and you learn and you get better, it is pure bliss to play through and just land, you know, the perfect series of wall jumps and free running. You know, it's pure bliss. If you like that kind of stuff, which I do, I thought it was a great game. But anyway, that's my review, and have a good night.